Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Of course, as with every single mid-season update that we've seen over the course of the past couple of games, honestly, Season 1's mid-season update included a decent amount of weapon tuning, primarily some buffs to some of the main Vanguard weapons, which is definitely a good thing. A lot of them were in need of a few changes here and there, but nonetheless, they did shift the meta a little bit. And in turn, today we're going over the new best loadouts to be using after the mid-season update. So as we go over it all, if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. It would be seriously appreciated. And of course, if you're new to the channel or if you have not already subscribed, right around 56% of viewers watching are not subbed yet. And every single day, I got you covered with all things going on in COD, between news, updates, loadouts, tips. It is all right here. So feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. Also, right now, code WHosImmortal will actually get you 30% off your entire order over on gfuel.com. So if you want to grab a new tub, a shaker cup, a starter pack, anything like that, Code WHosImmortal has you covered. So the first loadout we're looking at, of course, is probably the #1 loadout in the game still, even after the mid-season update. It's the BREN and the MP40. These both actually got nerfed with the mid-season update, but the nerfs were definitely not enough to make these weapons not top tier meta, right? So these two combined are still an absolutely insane combination. Before we break down the attachments real quick, perks and equipment, this is the same on pretty much all of my loadouts here. EOD overkill amped. The only time I won't use amped is in very specific situations where I'm using combat scout instead. We'll talk about that when we get to it. Then I also use the throwing knife and the stim. Been loving the stim recently because that speed boost. We'll have a separate video on that at some point in time, but yeah, that's the same on all my setups here. As far as the BREN goes, same setup as before. Honestly, we don't got to spend too much time on this. Mercury silencer is absolutely still the go-to. Royal barrel, despite now having a damage drop-off, is still ridiculously good and also very good for control as well. 3 to 6 times scope is probably my preferred scope right now. Better control, it just looks super clean. The Hawkinson stock is great for control during sustained fire, so that's sort of a no-brainer. Hand stop to me feels the best over the Carver in this case, just minimal bounce all around. The Sakura 40-round mags did also see a slight nerf, but they're still probably the best choice here when it comes to a magazine. They're just going to be the most consistent. That recoil control over range is ideal. Of course, we're using lengthened and polymer for the best control and bullet velocity over range, alongside tight grip for even better control, and obviously fully loaded so we can max out our ammo. Then the MP40, also the same setup as before the nerfs. Recoil booster to make it a bit more aggressive. The 317mm barrel, that's obviously going to help out with control and accuracy. The ISO 1M iron sight, just because it gives you a better ADS speed. The folding stock for better mobility. The pistol grip for a better sprint to fire speed. The Gorenko 45-round mags, still the best here. These were not touched, so obviously the same choice as before. Incendiary still is the best for close range fights. You could also run hollow point though if you really wanted to. That extra burn though, to me, just gives it that extra edge, if you will. Polymer, as always, unmarked to potentially keep me off the radar in certain situations, then also quick for better mobility. Now, loadout number 2 consists of the STG and the demo kit. Same perks and everything as before, obviously. STG actually, why does it show as the BREN? The STG actually is better than it was before. This got some slight buffs to primarily its visual recoil and its recoil over range, so that's ideal. And the Type 100 is one of those top tier SMGs right now. Its damage output is just insane. 100% worth using. So STG setup here is gonna be pretty basic. Mercury silencer yet again, the 760mm barrel for the better control and damage range, 3 to 6 times scope once more. The weighted stock for the better control, aiming stability, and better accuracy. Hand stop once more. I like just using the basic 60-round drums here. This is just your, usual extended mag. The 50-round here, which is the better control and accuracy and whatnot, the velocity just does not feel good, so I'm not a fan of that. I like just the basic extended. Lengthened and polymer once more. Vital for the increased torso damage. Honestly, the perks here just are not all that great. I wish there was tight grip or hard scope or something like that, but alas, there is not. So Vital works just fine. Then fully loaded once more. And then for the Type 100, pretty similar setup to the MP40, honestly. Recoil booster to make it more aggressive. The 374mm barrel is going to give you that better control and better accuracy. Slate reflector yet again. The skeletal stock as well. Hand stop once more. I go for the 8mm 48 round drums here. They are damage increasing. Honestly, the mag options here just are not super ideal. This is your biggest mag, so it's best for, trios and quads, but it also does help out with the damage and whatnot as well. Makes it pretty good for sniper support. Incendiary once more for the same reasons as before. Polymer. Acrobatic, honestly, there's a lot of good perks here. I just really like the increased move speed and whatnot. If you wanted to go full hip fire based here, Gung Ho could be really good, but acrobatic for my play style just ends up working the best. Then again, we've we've got quick. Now, loadout number 3 is going to be a combination of the bar and the Owen gun. The bar also got buffed with the mid-season update. The Owen gun was not touched. It's still one of the best SMG choices as well. As far as the bar goes, again, Mercury silencer for the better control and to keep us off the minimap, the 27-inch barrel for the better range and better control. The 2.5 times optic is what I was running, but they actually went ahead and they fixed the 3 to 6 times scope, so now I'm probably going to be running that on my bar setup alongside the Chariot stock, better control, accuracy, aiming stability. Hand stop yet again. The 50 BMG 40 round mag has the best control, best velocity, everything going on there. While you do lose control, it's got better control than the 30 round mag, so that's something to always take note of. Length and polymer as always. Hard scope for the better control during sustained ADS, which is every time you're shooting the bar pretty much. Then also fully loaded once more. And then for the Owen gun here, again, sort of a similar setup to some of the other SMGs. Recoil booster. The shrouded barrel is really the best option here. Less damage fall off at long range, so it makes it better for sniper support. Better velocity as well. No headshot damage, but honestly, the damage output is good enough on this thing. It works just fine, right? So I've got that on there. Slate reflector, remove stock for the better mobility here is going to make this a lot more aggressive. I love that. Hand stop, yet again. I go for the Gorenko's 72 round drums, fire rate increasing, better control as well, so just makes it easier to use, easier to land shots with. Incendiary rounds, as always with the SMGs. Polymer once more. Brace, I'm actually going to update. In the initial firing recoil before I wasn't a huge fan of, but apparently right now, this is broken, so I would not recommend brace at the moment. I'm just going to go for acrobatic again, get some better movement speed, and then also quick yet again as well. Now, loadout number 4 is going to be the same BREN setup as before, but this time we've got the PPSH as a secondary, and you'll notice I got Combat Scout here because on this PPSH, I'm using Fleet, which is basically amped built into a perk. You get the better weapon swap quickness, so I can switch back to my BREN faster, so I don't feel like I need to have amped on there necessarily. The switch speed to the PPSH from the BREN will still be kind of slow, but it's doable, honestly, and this is the full-on hip fire build that has been decimating recently. Oil can silencer is going to give us better accuracy and keep us off the radar. The ADS speed, it doesn't matter there as a con because we're not ADSing. Going for the 230mm barrel, better hip fire accuracy all around, which is obviously what we like to see. The 3 to 6 times scope obviously isn't really being used, but what you can do with this is actually still get the pros off of it, which is pretty interesting. So you could run any optic you want and still get better control or better accuracy from it, which is kind of weird. Remove stock for better mobility and also better hip fire accuracy. The steady underbarrel, which is just for hip fire accuracy. Either the Nambu's 71 round drums or the Gorenko's 71 round drums, these are going to give you that faster fire rate and to me make it a little bit more aggressive and better for those close range hip fire fights. But if you want just like the standard fire rate, just a basic extended mag, this works just fine as well. Either of those are solid choices. Going for incendiary yet again. The pine tar grip in this case, which is better for hip fire accuracy. Like I said, fleet and then fully loaded in this case instead of quick, just because with hip fire, you got the opportunity to miss more shots. You might run out of ammo quicker. So I just feel like maximizing your ammo is probably a bit more of a priority there. But if you wanted to, you could definitely run quick as well. Now for loadout number 5, we've got the Type 11. We've got the brand new Welgun. Obviously, we went over this in its own separate video. Great SMG, rivals the MP40, really, really fun. And the Type 11, especially as the BREN continues to see nerfs, is definitely going to be one of those primary weapons that players are going to look to for long-range engagements because this actually has the shrouded barrel, which does not have a damage drop-off. Damage does not diminish over range. So obviously we're running that. We've got Mercury silencer on there as well. The 3 to 6 times scope as always. The first stock here is going to be ideal because this does have a bit of a jump up on recoil on those first shots. So using something like, let's say, the weighted stock, which gives you sustained recoil, is not going to come into play as much as this first one, which is just better recoil overall. It's going to make those first few bullet jump ups a little bit easier to control. Hand stop yet again. I go for the basic 90 round drum extended mag here. Don't really need any of these other mags that are, damage increasing or decreasing. The basic extended mag works just fine. Lengthen and polymer as always. Again, we're going to be updating brace here. There's really not any great options, so I'll go for sleight of hand in this case. Fully loaded as always on there as well. And then for the Welgun, this will be the same setup that we covered the other day as like the main primary SMG build. Recoil booster for more aggression. The short barrel for better fire rate. This makes the fire rate between those two fantastic. Also going for the slate reflector. The skeletal stock for better mobility. You could also run remove stock though if you really wanted to. The pistol grip here for a better sprint to fire. The 9mm 64 round mags, which is basically just an extended mag here as well. Incendiary. Polymer for the better control, Frenzy for basically having quick fix on the gun itself, and then also quick for better mobility too. This next loadout is one that is definitely more experimental and a lot more aggressive. It's the Cooper, and then also the same MP40 setup from before. I love the Cooper as sniper support, which you'll see here in a moment, then also just as a primary rifle. The thing is just so good. It's probably my favorite gun in the game right now, honestly, just because it's so aggressive. The setup here is going to be pretty standard. Mercury silencer, Cooper custom barrel, keeping us off the radar, best control, best range possible out of those. The 2.5 times optic I'm a big fan of on this weapon in particular because it works well for medium range, long range, even some close range if you had to. The Cooper 45 RS stock for the better initial recoil and also the better ADS. Hand stop as always. The 9mm 60 rounds, lengthened because I am using this as, that primary setup. Polymer, tight grip, and then also fully loaded as well. And then, like I said, the MP40 setup is the exact same as before. Now, speaking of the Cooper as sniper support, I've actually got the same exact setup as my sniper support rifle here because it works so well for literally any range. You can use this thing and it'll do just fine. And then for my primary sniper right now, I'm loving the MW car. It's still consistent. While the flinch is a lot more noticeable, it's still a fantastic choice. As always, going for monolithic suppressor, then also the 27.6-inch barrel. Best range, best velocity out of those. Tac laser for that better ADS speed. The basic sniper scope with the cross-thread reticle. And then also, you do have to run focus now for that increased flinch resistance just because the nerfs, you're going to be a lot more accurate if you're getting shot and you have that on there. Loadout number 8 is going to feature that same BREN setup from before, but also the AS44. So you're doubling up on the rifle ammo, but this AS44 is really just built for those close and medium range fights. It's not going to be the full hip fire build because I don't feel like that's super versatile, but this is a great aggressive build to use for just close range. So it's like that SMG AR hybrid. Here we're going for the Mercury silencer. Yeah, it's going to hurt the range, but that's not a big deal because we're not using it for long range. Going for the falchion barrel here for the better fire rate, just makes it more aggressive and better for close range fights. The 2.5 times optic still works for close range, just like over on the Cooper, but unlike the Slate, it's going to give us that better control, which this gun definitely needs. Even though it was buffed and has better control now, you might as well make the most out of it, right? Going for the custom stock here, better control and accuracy during sustained fire. That's really what I'm looking for out of that. Hand stop's going to give you that better control as well. I'm going for the Granco 50 round mags, better fire rate, but better control and accuracy primarily, and also some better movement speed, so it just makes it more aggressive and better for those close range fights. Incendiary in this case, just for that added burn, just like over on any of the SMGs, same premise there. Polymer as always for the better control. Steady here, I'm not really a big fan of these perks either. If you're going full hip fire, obviously Gung Ho would be a great choice instead, but steady works just fine for an ADS build. And fully loaded once again, I'd like to have quick on there, but that doesn't exist. Now for loadout number 9, same MP40 step as before, but this time it's paired with the MG42. Just like the Type 11, I feel like this could probably take over the long range meta, at least from an LMG standpoint, as the BREN continues to see nerfs over time. The MG42 will delete players. Its fire rate, its damage, everything about it is pretty insane. The BREN currently is just a slightly better version, in my opinion, a little bit more consistent, but over time, I could definitely see this thing taking over. Here we're going for the Mercury silencer. As always, no surprise there. The 890mm barrel for the better control pretty much is what we're going to get out of that. This is pretty much a no recoil setup for what it's worth. 3 to 6 times scope, the padded stock for better accuracy and control during sustained fire, hand stop as always, the 125 round Sakura magazine. This is going to give us that better control, better fire rate, better movement speed, really good for those long range fights. Even when you do lose range and damage here, it's still going to delete players because it's just so easy to control. Lengthened and polymer, big surprise there as well. Tight grip once more, then also fully loaded's on there too. And then for the last loadout, this is just my basic regain loadout. I don't really ever use this unless I'm coming back from the gulag. I need to hit a loadout to get, restock and everything. Or if I want to grab one of these first loadouts, which obviously has overkill, I'll grab this one off of our second one. That way I can have restock and keep replenishing my knives and my stim. But it's the same STG setup as we covered before. It's just nice and consistent. It's got fully loaded on there, so I max out my ammo. And for the secondary here, I go for the machine pistol. Really, you're just looking for any pistol that has fully loaded on it. You could use an MW one if you wanted to, a Vanguard one if you wanted to. This just maximizes your SMG and your pistol ammo so that when you find a new gun or if you get your old loadout back, you have max ammo. So here I got the Mercury silencer, the 140mm barrel for better hip fire because I am using a Kimbo on this. The Slate 3.25 times scope for the better, control and accuracy stats. Hair trigger, the Granco 40 round extended mag, basically just because I want the most ammo possible. It also does help out with the fire rate and control and whatnot too. I'm not sure why I had lengthened on there, but incendiary is probably the way to go because this is only close range, so lengthened wouldn't have much of a helping hand in that. Pine tar yet again for the better hip fire because obviously we're akimbo. And like I said, fully loaded is that last key portion of that setup there. But all that being said, those are my current best loadouts to be using in Warzone after the mid-season update. That is going to wrap things up for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know by dropping a like on it. Would be seriously appreciated. And of course, if you're new to the channel or if you have not already subscribed, feel free to do so. That way you can always guarantee you're up to date with everything going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.